Hey everyone, I'm here to review the Osmo Pocket by DJI. Okay, so basically I bought the Osmo Pocket last week and I took it with me for an 8-day trip to Dubai, and I'm going to be showing you some of my experiences there with the gimbal, and also I'm going to categorize and show you the different aspects of the gimbal, what to look out for, what are some good aspects, and what needs to improve. Okay, so the Osmo Pocket is a pocket stabilizer, also known as a gimbal, which is a pretty new technology used to stabilize videos. So here we have the device. I'm going to turn it on. It does this automatic configuration motion every time you turn it on, so that it knows which way is up and which way is down. Right now, the gimbal, whenever it turns on, it always looks straight forward through the horizon. Right now I have the USB Type-C adapter, which can be plugged into your phone. For example, if we plug it in, it would look like this. And then you can use the DJI Mimo app to see the input of this on the phone, which can result in much better videos. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to go through each category that we've talked about reviewing, and then talk about the pluses, the minuses, and then I'll give a rating, a numerical rating out of 10 for each category. So let's start with the audio. So basically, the audio input comes from two microphones, one which is located in the front of the camera, or the side of the camera facing the user, and one located on the bottom here next to the USB Type-C charging cable port. So the front one is pretty good if you're making a selfie video, if you're a vlogger or something. You can speak into this camera and it's going to make an okay sound. It's not going to be the highest quality sound as some kind of studio microphone, but it's good enough just to bring on the go. And what is this device about? It's about portability. So the bottom microphone, it picks up all other sounds. So for the audio, I would give it overall 7 out of 10 because it's not the best, but it still does the job, and it's pretty high quality audio for having just two small mics. So also, there's no speaker, so you can't hear the audio that you've made in each video or audio. Okay, so for the video, this device can take videos in 4K resolution with 60 frames per second. You can take this resolution in photos, videos, and in slow motion recordings, but you can only take full HD in motion lapse, time lapse, panorama. These are only available in full HD 1080p, so keep that in mind when you're taking a look at buying this product, because you're only going to be able to record that in 1080p. Also, the video, when you're taking a recording, a selfie recording, there's no facial tracking. Normally there's facial recognition in photographs. So if you're taking a photograph and you want to put the device down, stabilize it like this, and move away from it, it'll track your face and it'll adjust accordingly. But in videos, there's no facial tracking. There is a facial recognition software which helps to focus the device onto your face and have the focus there. But there's no facial recognition, no facial tracking in the video mode. In photo modes, I would say the facial tracking software is pretty good. It recognizes your face, but sometimes it's a bit annoying because, for example, I wanted to take a selfie photo with me and some kind of building in the background, and the facial tracking, it kept focusing on my face, and it would just get from my top of my forehead to my chin. It wouldn't get my hair, and I couldn't change the input so that it would show the building also. So what I kept having to do was I would have to aim the selfie at myself and then press the focus on this tiny little screen to some object in the background, so it would stop facial tracking. But many times it would just keep tracking my face, and it was not the best facial tracking. Like I said, it only goes from the top of my forehead to my chin, didn't include my hair. So also, when you're recording selfie videos with this, you have to hold the camera quite far away from your face to have your whole face in. It looks a bit strange to have your arm outstretched like this, so it's not the best for vloggers, I would say. So overall for the video, I give this category a 9 because it really is spectacular video, spectacular quality, 4K 60 frames per second. It's the type of video you would find on the newest smartphones or the newest cameras, but it's in a small device like this, which is pretty amazing. So the only downside is that the panorama, motion lapse, time lapse are not available in 4K, and the selfie videos are a bit difficult to do because you have to hold the camera so far away from your face. Portability. since this is known as the Pocket Osmo, it should be really portable, right? And it should be easy to carry around. You know, it's something that you're going to use on the go during travel. So I think the device is very portable. It's very small. It easily fits in your pocket. So even if you put it in the case doesn't add too much space on it. The case easily fits in your pocket, and it has this little strap. But I'm going to talk about this later. Even if you don't have this USB Type-C adapter in to use your phone, and you use this simple natural cover for this part, then you can just put this in your pocket, although I wouldn't because of the gimbal is quite sensitive, but you can put this in your pocket. It's quite small. I would have liked to see a bigger device given in exchange for some battery life and some stability. So you'll see, I'm going to talk about soon about the battery and the stability are a bit poor, but because for me, my hands are a bit big, so when I'm holding this device, it feels a bit small in my hands, so it kind of feels unsafe, and the battery is also a minus here. So for portability, I gave it a 10 because it does the job, it lives up to its name, and it definitely fits in your pocket, so that's really good. It's really good for a traveler on the go. You can easily fit it in a small bag or something, or a purse or whatever you're carrying around, so that's really good for the portability. I recommend it for that. Okay, so the next category is battery. Battery, this is the absolute worst part of this device, I would say. It's not too bad, but it definitely needs improvement. So the battery life is written as 2 hours for the Osmo Pocket, and it definitely can go for 2 hours or an hour 45 minutes roughly. But the thing is that you're always turning it on and off, so it's always doing this configuration, which of course takes from the battery life. And most of the time you're just taking a photo, or you're just doing a 30-second, 45-second recording, or even a 2-3 second recording or something. So you have to constantly turn it on and off, which wastes the battery life. And you don't want to leave it on because that also is a waste when you're not recording anything. So the battery life is a bit poor, so you definitely need to bring a portable external battery drive, which you can plug in. It accepts a USB Type-C adapter. But they give you, actually in the case, they give you a USB to USB Type-C charging cable, which is this long, 50 centimeters approximately. It's not too long. I actually used a different one. I used a different cable, one that I got with my Samsung Galaxy. It was much longer, so I could put my battery into my bag, and then I charged it on the go. Also, the battery, when you're using it, it really heats up the device, and it's not painful to your hand or anything, but it definitely heats it up enough that you feel like this isn't normal, or this might actually damage the battery over the long run. So for battery, I gave it a 6 because, okay, what do you expect from such a small device, and it's doing so many things with the gimbal and everything, but still, it could have been a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit thinner, longer, and then make the battery last longer. Okay, so now the next category is the gimbal. The gimbal is the part of the device which allows the camera to move 360 degrees, and it stabilizes the video. It's usually quite stable and creates stable videos most of the time. There are 3 modes: the FPV or first person view mode, the follow mode, and the tilt lock mode. So FPV mode, basically they said in the website that this is to film something that you want to get the first person view of, so maybe a roller coaster ride or some kind of car ride, or something that involves something that you have to experience first person. So first person, basically the difference is that when you tilt it left and right, it also follows the tilt, so it doesn't stabilize that, and it creates stable videos, but you shouldn't use it for just everyday recording because it also follows more quickly, and it makes the videos a bit rushed. The follow mode, which was the mode that I used the most often, and I kept it always on follow mode, it allows you to have the camera follow wherever your hand is going, and you can set in the settings follow mode to slow follow or fast follow. I always had it to slow follow because this would result in more stable videos, and so that people could more easily see. But sometimes it was a bit frustrating because you would follow and it wouldn't follow as quickly as you wanted it to, because the fast follow is a bit too too fast, but the slow fall, sometimes it was annoying. The last one is the tilt locked, so that means if you tilt it in any direction, I'm going to turn it on, I'll show you guys. Okay, so this is tilt locked. So tilt locked, it means you can tilt it up and down and it'll still focus on the same thing. So this is really good if you're in a really bumpy ride or something, you want to focus straight forward, or you want to just focus on one thing while you're moving, for example, walking around or something. I'm going to show you the FPV mode. So the FPV mode, for example, you take a video, it tilts, it just slows it down a bit. But see, if you're going like this, it's still going to make a really wavy video. Stable, but it's wavy, or it's moving around. Now the final one, the follow mode, this is the one I use the most. So left and right tilt, it doesn't accept. But going left and right, for example, it does. This is on slow fall right now, so. And then back to tilt locked. So tilt locked is yeah, for focusing on one thing. Also, one thing I noticed is that sometimes when I turned on the device, the gimbal, it would like whack out for a second or like go crazy because it wouldn't configure right, and then it would just move left and right or up and down or in like a circle or something, and you'd have to turn off the device and turn it on again. So I don't know if that's some kind of programming error or configuration error or something, but you can actually configure it by placing the gimbal, the pocket down on the table or flat surface, and then it'll configure itself in addition to when it configures itself on turning on. One more negative I wanted to talk about for the gimbal is that sometimes, for example, if you're in a bus and it's making a turn, not even a sharp turn, but a long, shallow turn, then when it's turned on, the configuration is a bit off for the gimbal. So you'll take a video and it'll be a bit tilted. After the bus stops turning, for example, the video will be a bit tilted. And I noticed that for a few of my videos, and it was really annoying. I don't know if there's any way to fix this problem, but it's quite annoying when you're making a video and then it's a bit off. So the gimbal I gave a 9 out of 10 because it's quite stable and it's pretty good. It's portable, it's small, but this one problem I had, it was pretty annoying. Okay, so the next thing is the DJI Mimo app. So we're going to launch that up and we'll show you how that works. Okay, so this is the Mimo. It's quite easy to install. You just plug your device in. You have to turn it on first. It doesn't turn on by itself or anything. Okay, so here we have a bunch of options. So we can do panorama, photo, video, slow motion, and time-lapse. Let's start by showing you a video, something simple. So in the video you have this little, how should I say, like a little accessory that controls the camera, and you can do it in all sorts of directions. It would be really great if they would give you this accessory here in a physical accessory, but of course you have to pay separately for that. So, but you have it on the phone, so as long as it's connected to the phone you can do that. So here we have the home button. This goes back to the main page. Then here we have the settings for the camera, which are slow follow, fast follow, and then we have the first person view, follow mode, or the tilt locked. Here we can set the resolution, 4K or full HD, the video frame rate, always had it at 60, and the quality fine or super fine. I think super fine is only available in 1080p resolution. On the top left we have the battery life of the device, we have the SD card, and right now it's showing me in how many minutes of recording I still have left. Here we have a recenter button, and then we have a selfie mode or camera switch button, and then here we can look at all of the videos we've created. So for example, I created this video earlier, and sometimes, for example, if your phone only does full HD, then you can't play the videos back. For example, me and my brother made this. I'm going to turn off the sound quickly. See, for right now I'm playing the video, but it's not showing me anything because my phone only accepts full HD recordings. It's not fast enough. See, it's playing, and right now, see, it's blurry. So you need a 4K phone to use this device. Okay, so the app is pretty easy to use. It works well. It's easy to set up. The most thing I used it for was I would set it on the ground, and then if I wanted to take some kind of photo, for example, see, it also does this. This is a pretty bad thing. For example, I was out in the desert, and I was taking selfie videos, and after a while it did this for me, like this blurry, pixelated. It normally doesn't do this. Even if you don't have a 4K phone, you can still look through the camera normally, but sometimes it does this, which is very annoying, and I don't know what's wrong with it. But anyway, the most times I used it, I would just put it down like this, and then take a video, and then I could edit it and make it a picture later, for example. And it's great if you don't have someone else to take the photo. You can put it on the ground, take the photo, and then edit it later, or take a video, edit it later. I want to talk about a bit about this connection between the USB Type-C port and the Osmo Pocket. It's quite poor. I would say it's very unstable, and it's very prone to break. I even noticed that after using it for a while, like this connection has become loose, and it actually affected the port on my phone. It, like any cable I plug in it feels loose now. So I don't like that. You know, there's an accessory for it that can stabilize this, but that also costs money, and that's a separate thing, and it's quite bulky, and maybe it doesn't fit on this phone because it has a case on it. So that accessory is a must-do if you want to use this S connected to the phone. So yeah, definitely this stabilization, this connection is a negative. Another negative is that the panoramas, they need to be loaded separately into the Mimo app before you can download them onto a computer, which is quite annoying and quite slow. So there's two types of panoramas: the 3x3, which shoots the top left to the top right, and then it shoots 3 rows of this panorama, and then the normal panorama, which shoots 4 photos in one horizontal plane. So in one plane you direct it, and then you can shoot the photos. So these need to be loaded onto through the DJI Mimo app into the phone. And I never did that because it took, first of all, it takes a long time to load, and second of all, nobody wants to hold this device together and, you know, be afraid that it's going to break, or, you know, it's not comfortable. You can't put it down any good way. So that's a real negative for me. So overall, I would give this section 7.5 because the app is really good, but the connection between the camera and the phone is very poor, and I wouldn't recommend it at all. So I think they definitely need to work. It's a good beginning baby steps for the company, but this product, it definitely needs to be improved in the Type 2 version or Type 3 version. They should fix this. Okay, so storage. Let's talk about the memory. It has no internal memory, which is kind of a downside, but of course nowadays most people have an SD card. It can store a maximum SD card storage of 256 gigabytes, which is approximately enough for 6 hours of 4K video in 4K resolution. But normally when you're traveling around someplace, then you're not going to be constantly shooting hours and hours of video because the battery's going to die. You're going to take 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. So 6 hours is pretty much enough I calculate it as enough for about 5 days or 6 days. Plus or minus 1 day. So it depends on how much you take each day, but I would definitely recommend bringing some kind of external storage or buying 2 of the 256 SD cards so that you can switch it or you download the files. The SD card, it needs to have at least a write speed of 80 megabytes per second so that you can accommodate 4K video file writing. Otherwise it's going to destroy your files if it can't write it quickly enough. So for the storage, I gave it a 9 because 256 is good enough for, like I said, 6 days. Okay, so let's talk about the case itself. So the case is made of this polyester kind of plastic material. It's got the DJI logo on the bottom and on the side, and also on the bottom it says designed by DJI. The product fits nicely in the case. When you turn it off, it goes into this position, and the gimbal is actually held for a few seconds after it's turned off, held in this position. So after you turn it off, you can immediately place it in here with no problem, so it doesn't move or anything. As you can see here, there's a hole for the adapter for the USB Type-C. The clip is pretty durable, so even during the trip I was playing with it, I was opening it and closing it a lot, but still it holds it. Maybe after a year or two it might get a little bit loose, but for me it worked fine. It protects the camera really well, so the lens is facing inside. On the inside there's a kind of like a fabric material, which is nice and soft. You can see the SD card is accessible from the case, so you don't have to take out the device to access the SD card. And on the bottom there's a charging port where you can plug in the USB Type-C cable to charge it. And the good thing is that, I'll show you guys, you can even charge it and you can take it out of the case. So what I did is I charged it in my bag and I could still film while it was the cable was in the case. So I could always just easily put it back here and do like this and put it away. So, and you're going to need to charge it because the battery life is not too long. Another negative I wanted to mention is that this wrist strap, it's only attached to the case. So if you have the wrist strap, it has a little clip, you can tighten it to your wrist. Then the pocket itself is not protected, only the case. So this is nice, of course, you know, you can hang it here, you can walk around, it doesn't bother you, it's not too heavy or anything. It can even bang into something, it won't have any problem with the case. But when you take it out, you know, it's quite small, so you're afraid of dropping it or something. I really would have liked to see that the strap is attached to the Osmo Pocket instead, and maybe the strap goes through this little charging hole, so that it's attached to both the case and the pocket. That's really a downside. So actually, I'm gonna give an 8 for the case. Okay, so the next category is the charging. The charge time is around 1 hour for the Osmo Pocket. Apparently 1 hour is 90%. I didn't personally time it, but I always noticed that it charges very quickly. When you're using it and it charges, it actually can sometimes decrease, so you can't charge it faster than when you use it. But when you turn it off and put it in your pocket for a second, it charges pretty quickly, so that makes up for it. So for charging, I gave it a 10 because of the short charge time and because it's USB Type-C. Okay, so for the screen, it has a little touch screen here from which you can access all the menu points. The screen is quite small, so that's the only downside of this, is that the screen is quite small. I have big thumb. You can easily press all the buttons and you can easily access the different menu points and settings, but it's still quite small, so this affects mostly when you're recording and you want to see some kind of video that you're recording. It doesn't really show up well, and also when you're doing the follow mode, sometimes it looks like when you're recording it follows quite slowly, but then you look later in the storage or the video recording, it's quite fast, so the screen kind of distorts this viewing. Also, it's a square screen, so it's not giving you the same shape of the video that you're actually recording, so it'll look a bit different when you download it. So I really would have liked to see the screen a bit bigger, but other than that, the menu points are quite easy to handle. You can look back at your photos. There's no speakers, so you can't hear the audio that you've made in each area, in each video or audio. But you can look back at them, so that's the good part. For screen, I gave a 7 out of 10 because it's too small and it gives this effect of panning or shooting too quickly. Okay, so the final category I want to talk about is the price. The price is $350 US. I would say overall the price is alright. It's a bit on the expensive side still, but it's the first of its kind, and it's the first portable 4K gimbal basically, and for that it's really good. So if you have the money, I could recommend it. It still has some problems, it's still in the beta phase, but it's a really cool device for somebody who's interested in this kind of stuff. So I would give the value of the device a 7.5 out of 10 because it still has some way to go, but it's still a really great idea. So congrats to DJI for making a good idea, but they still have a ways to go. So I hope they see this review so that they can see what to improve. Thanks guys for listening to my review. So basically, in conclusion, I just want to say that it's a really great device. It's a very futuristic device. It is a great idea, but it still has some aspects that need to be worked out. Some of the kinks need to be worked out. But definitely, I would recommend this device to somebody who's traveling on the go and wants to make high quality videos which are stabilized and has the money to do so. So, see you next time.